Okay, so as you can see from the title, that's a video I never wanted to make, but here we are. And I think for anyone who's watched me a lot, it's not really a surprise to make this video. Okay, so I'm quitting MMOs, at least as a full-time kind of thing. Obviously, I've been live streaming for a while, from like BDO to Lost Ark, WoW, New World, all of this kind of stuff, and I think it's time to just try other things, you know? And I will get into that right now and why that is. Okay, there's a bunch of things that are getting really on my nerves and really frustrate me, and I think well, it all comes down to one simple thing, and that is games are bad. MMOs are bad. You know, there's a lot of discussion about this, like, oh my god, there's so many games to play. This is like the era of the most games in development, and that's all true. And I saw the Force Gaming video about that too. And but I think there's a little bit of a different perspective on MMOs, because as he said as well in his video, I think a lot of MMOs that are in development or have released or will release at some point are all pretty fucking trash and terrible. And there's not really been you know, a step up in the genre. Honestly, I think it's funny to say that, but I genuinely think that WoW Vanilla in 2004 for its time was easily the best MMORPG we've ever had, and it's not even close, not even remotely. The only other two games that I really enjoyed personally were BDO and Lost Ark for a while, but that's also was kind of short-lived, and we'll get into that in a second as well. Obviously there's other great games like Final Fantasy and like Elder Scrolls and Guild Wars 2, and I also love Guild Wars 2, by the way. I think Guild Wars 2 is great. I hope they make a third one eventually. But in its current state, games are either very old, and I don't want to get into that, especially not as a content creator. Even if I wasn't one, it would probably be annoying, because I mean, the internet has changed, and everyone says, oh, the player base has changed. Players want instant gratification now and all of these kind of things, which I don't actually think is true at all. I think what has changed, though, is that everything is much more accessible, information-wise. When games do release, they don't really release as a fresh product. They release as, oh, we will have Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha 4, Beta 1, Beta 2, Open Beta Weekend, Server Slam, like whatever the fuck kind of bullshit. Then there's a bunch of content creators that get invited to a previous beta or like a closed beta, then they can publish the content, like in Diablo, for example. When a new game releases, it's already basically figured out, and especially bad if you're a content creator, because then you can't really do the things on your own. You need to like have your full screen full of don't backseat me, don't give me fucking advice, those kind of things, right? I think genuinely that we're at a stage now where the games have not improved at a base level for years, and developers also kind of opt out of making MMOs now. A good example of that is BDO's successor, which initially was supposed to be an MMORPG, obviously, Crimson Desert, which they also went back on eventually, which is not an MMORPG anymore if you didn't know. Project BBQ was cancelled, then the one Amazon Lord of the Rings MMO was cancelled, and now they reopened it again. Ashes of Creation, by the way, I wanted to make a completely separate video about this, but Ashes of Creation is honestly a decade away from releasing properly at this point, I think. They're progressing at such a slow pace. It's actually so slow, and I have a little graph here, that they don't even understand it themselves how slow that is. I'll just pop it up on screen. There's like a little, it's like a little graph of what they initially thought would happen, right? Where you can see Alpha 2 it would start in Q3 of 2019. This is literally fucking 4 years ago. Obviously they went back on that and said they miscalculated all of this. But let's be honest here. They've said Alpha 2 should have been end of last year. Now they're saying it's going to be next year, and whatever the fuck. Ashes of Creation is never going to release. And even if it does release, we will know every single fucking little stone in that world already. Because people will have played the persistent alpha, beta, fucking whatever for years already. So who the fuck really cares when it releases? Because it doesn't matter anyways, right? Same thing with all the other upcoming MMOs. I think Chrono Odyssey looks like an asset flip mostly, and I don't really see it being good until we see actual gameplay. There was actually some controversies because in the very initial gameplay trailer they've shown wasn't actually gameplay. They said that as well, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. Terra's Land, a bunch of shit. Like literally, if you go, you know, back in the day when you had like these PC magazines and there was like this free like demo CD of a popular game, that's basically what Terra's Land is for WoW, just with the exception that it's made for mobile games. So you basically have the Walmart PC magazine version of WoW that is made for mobile games. It felt so fucking terrible to play. Let's not get me started on Throne of Liberty again, because I'm gonna lose my mind. Hello guys! Like, it's terrible. And we could also talk about the current situation, which is also incredibly frustrating, especially for me, because I've always been someone that tried to make games better by critiquing them, by giving feedback, by writing forum posts, by making videos about it, whatever, right? By talking about it on stream. I did that. I started that with BDO. I preached a million things that they should change over the years. Beginning with desync, the fucking terrible monetization, the crazy amount of item bloat that they have, resistances are being absolutely terrible, more emphasis on the open world instead of making shit ass quest lines. None of that has made it through to them, and the game just keeps getting, you know, it keeps going in that direction where I think it's actually, for me at least, not enjoyable. A lot of people are praising it right now again, which I, by the way, will get into that, but the game hasn't really changed a whole lot. If you want to do some janky ass boss fights, sure, then the game is better now, but outside of that, with some minor quality of life improvements, the game is basically the same as it's always been. Let's be honest here. And obviously, props to them for lowering the entry barrier with pay to win. Okay, you get props for that, and you also get props for having sick community managers, but for everything else, it's the same shit. Okay, they haven't addressed any of the fundamental issues that I've complained about like fucking 5 years ago already. Nothing. They probably don't even know what desync even is. What? I think I'm done. I'm gonna be honest. Then you have, you know, for example, New World when that released. Same shit. I made 2 Reddit posts that got a lot of traction, which I also obviously posted on the forums. There's no more forums, obviously. I made like a fucking review about it. Like, I talked about so many problems and everything they needed to fix. I gave them literally everything they needed to do to make the game better. Either they completely ignored it or the fixes were way too late. Okay, same shit in New World. People in the beginning were like, oh my god, it's the best game ever. Oh, Nico is being a doomer again. Oh my god, let us just enjoy our game. And 2 weeks later it was fucking dead. Who would have fucking thought, right? Who would have thought? Same thing now with Lost Ark. I've been preaching, even before Lost Ark was out, I was saying this daily shit is gonna ruin the game. And especially for me, but for everyone eventually, this will burn everyone out. There's no way that's good. I was watching Loa-Ons before the release of Lost Ark in the West, and I was praying that they say like, oh yeah, please, we were not, now it's only, you can assign one main character and that's it, or whatever, right? Or making more content outside of that, or whatever. Or putting more effort into the PvP scene, which was really fun for a while as a horizontal thing that you can do on the side, right? None of that happened. And then everyone's again like, oh my god, Nico, you're such a doomer. Every game you play, you're such a doomer. But let us just enjoy this. Just fucking move on. Quit the game if you don't like it. And which, by the way, I think is probably the only proper way to handle that. I think the only real solution to most of these issues is not complaining about it. It's not making a cool fucking review on YouTube or writing a forum post. I think the real way to change anything is simply by quitting the game and not giving them money or attention. But we'll get into that. Same thing happened then with Diablo 4, and we're kind of at that stage right now. which can bring me to the next point very soon. But Diablo 4 was the same thing. Even in the beta, we could see so many issues, from renown to the world scaling, all of that, the skill trees, all of that shit was so obvious that it's gonna be a problem. Everyone's like, no, it's just the beta, it's gonna be fixed on launch, there's gonna be so many cool aspects and things. And obviously that didn't happen as well. And then everyone's like, oh my god, Nico, you're such a doomer. Oh my god, the game is so good. It's gonna be like at least an 8 out of 10, maybe a 9 out of 10. Diablo 4, if you're being serious. And depending on how you scale things, if you put Diablo 4 higher than a 6 out of 10, you're absolutely deluded. You're out of your goddamn mind. And I say that, I would probably give the game like a 4 out of 10 now after that terrible Season 1 patch. But for some reason, not only the fucking review, like official AAA reviewers said the game was like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 before launch, but also a lot of streamers, because again, this is kind of a big part why I also want to stop covering MMOs. The entire like content creation scene around it is disgusting. I would assume it's everywhere like that, but people are just misleading and lying to their audience left and right. Like this guy, for example.
Ultimately, though, the reality of this is probably it's a good thing. The fact is, if the game was complete dog shit, they couldn't trick anyone into do that in the first place. So then, therefore, the game, you know, all you guys say Diablo's a 2 out of 10. Like, you're retarded. The game's clearly not a 2 out of 10. It means we can pretty much safely say it's at least going to be a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 game by the looks of it. Get hyped. D4 is going to be at least pretty good. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be batch-ass as fuck. I'm going to be real. I think the hype of the launch is going to be, I mean, it's going to be fucking sick. I never said it's 8.5 out of 10. I literally never said it's 8.5 out of 10. I literally never said that. Like, when I've downgraded it to a 6.9, bro. No, a 6.8 I think I'm at, right? Yeah, because I had it as 7, and then I died to a fucking bug, and it's down to a 6.8. What are you on about? There will be substantial content in Season 1 of Diablo 4. If you think it is going to be some double goblin, you are out of touch, and you are not being realistic, and you're being pessimistic.
Who's the grifter now, pussy? Who is the grifter now? Same with Season 1, also completely delusional again, trying to tell everyone how it is, but it isn't. Obviously, Quinn is just having fun most of the time. But anyways, you can't go around calling people a grifter when you are the grifter. Okay? Like, it's so obvious what you're doing. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're misleading people in the wrong direction just because you know a dude at Blizzard and now the game has to be good or some shit. Maybe you're just deluding yourself. I don't know. But either way, that's a common trend nowadays. A new game is being announced or released. Everyone is hyping it up. Everyone's like, oh my god, it's gonna be the best game ever. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be the game of our generation. Okay, wait, hold on. I'll just lower this a little bit because I'm blinding you probably with my fucking... I think that's probably a little bit better. Anyways, the problem is the same, right? Everywhere you go and every new game that comes out, people jump to the hype train, to the positive vibes. We don't want any doomers. Doomers out. You know how things change? Not by people praising something, but by people critiquing and leaving and not financially supporting a game. That's why, fucking Lost Ark is a great example. Once Tier 3 happened in Lost Ark, all of a sudden the game got so much better. You know why they did that? They made that change? Because the game didn't work. The game didn't work. The game wasn't successful enough, so they had to change something, right? Same thing happened now, where in Korea, everyone is losing their minds because Smilegate is shitting the fucking bed, trying to make the game better, but instead they're making it worse and not addressing any issues. So people are leaving to competitors, and all of a sudden, oh, we will have 3 fucking live streams in a row. We will address this, and this. We're talking about it right now. Oh my god, but is things gonna change? Why did those things change? Why do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Because people aren't keeping up with their shit anymore, They're not sitting there and tolerating being treated like fucking second-hand citizen, Or second grade or whatever, right? That's why things change. By sitting around and having your positive vibes and oh my god, we're having so much fun, nothing's gonna fucking change. Okay? And then the funny thing is, all of those people that have this fucking attitude leave 2 weeks later without saying a word. And I have a good analogy for that, okay? This is what happens. I went to ordering a burger, right? And the burger came, and the burger literally had bone splinters in the fucking meat. It was gross, and that could be dangerous. Obviously, I didn't cut myself, luckily, but still. But I didn't call the burger joint and said, I want my money back or whatever the fuck. What did I do instead? I just said nothing, and I never ordered there again. I will never come back to that fucking place. I'll never order there again. And you know why? Because I couldn't give less of a shit about that burger place. Now, but if you're a person that cares about the quality of a product, you will go out of your way and tell them that something was wrong. Something needs to change, right? So usually, not always, but usually people who are doomers and complaining about games do that because they care about the quality of the product. So what I'm trying to say is, those content creators that are just about positive vibes and anti-doomer shit are either one of two. One, just trying to mislead their audience, and which is fine, it's about entertainment after all, but not talking about the actual problems and not really caring about the quality of games first, which is obviously very disingenuous and to be fair, pretty disgusting. If that's what you care about, is all you care about is good vibes instead of a quality product, but sure. And the second one is just people that have absolutely no fucking standards. And Actman said it very well here.
This is just insane to me. No wonder the games are so bad. You guys have no fucking standards whatsoever.
So people just have no standards, and I think that's also a big problem why things like Call of Duty or FIFA or whatever the fuck is still alive today, although they're not doing anything to their games, right? It's because people do not have any standards. They don't care. They just want to consume. They want to turn their brain off and play the most brain-dead shit they can possibly find, right? And that's something that they're familiar with, of course. That's probably the biggest selling point as well. So all in all, I think that's a big problem in MMOs. And obviously I know that Diablo 4 is not really like a full-blown MMO, but I think it's a part of it illustrates the issue very well, because it's the most recent example of a terrible game that is marketed and hyped by literally everyone, but ends up being very mediocre at best. Okay, so it's just depressing to see that, and it's depressing to see content creators being so detached from reality and trying to mislead everyone. It just pisses me off. Okay, it's what I'm trying to say. It pisses me off. And to be fair though, let's get to the point here, right? Obviously, that's kind of what the meta is now, and I don't really want to change to have like a more successful YouTube channel or Twitch channel by misleading my audience and being dishonest, right? I don't want to change myself how I am, because I think content creation should be something that you can express yourself in a way. So I don't intend to do that, and MMOs just don't offer any excitement in that direction anymore. And for me especially, usually I always had like, oh yeah, this is the next MMO, I'm gonna get ready for that. Like from BDO, it was basically getting ready for Lost Ark and New World slowly, or a new WoW expansion, or whatever the fuck it was, right? But now I don't really see that, right? What is there? What's next? What is next that's gonna come out? Throne and Liberty? Blue Protocol, which by the way, Blue Protocol is probably around a 4.5 out of 10 after seeing the monetization there as well. It's okay, but it's not something I would get excited about. What else? Ashes of Creation in 10 years? The Riot MMO in 20 years? Like, I don't really know where this is supposed to go, Like, I don't see a future unless someone changes the way that MMOs and MMORPGs especially work, right? So what I was thinking about for a while is just, well, first of all, I think maybe I just took the wrong approach. I think you know, trying to get better games by just making reviews about it and publicly like talking about the problems and the issues might have not been the right approach to address these problems, right? Maybe I should have never been a full-time content creator. Maybe I should have just done all of these things within companies, you know, or something like that. Maybe that was never the right choice. Maybe I'm just, you know, trying to chase something that doesn't exist. So, and yeah, like it's just depressing because this is something I've done for a long time and I've enjoyed for a long time. But I feel like we're getting to the point where there's not much left, and the sad reality is there isn't much left because of the consumers. I mean, at the end of the day, those are dictating what's happening anyways. So because consumers don't think about anything, because they're misled by terrible content creators, because you know, there's literally no competition most of the time, and obviously big corporations know how to exploit monopolies, right? There is not really much happening. And all of the games that are releasing are mediocre, terribly monetized, and we could talk about that for a short moment as well. MMO monetization, or gaming monetization in general, has gotten to a very bad point in my opinion. And I know there's a lot of people always saying, oh yeah, it's their money, they can do whatever the fuck they want with it, and that's true. The problem just is that affects everyone else. The moment we culturally accepted pay to win to be like a normal thing is the moment everyone else did it too. Back in the day, if you pay to win in a game, which was most of the time actually RMTing because you couldn't pay to win, you know, in vanilla WoW otherwise, for example, it was frowned upon, right? People were like, you're such a loser, fucking piece of shit. At least that's how I remember it. But nowadays it's so accepted, and I remember that so clearly when we watched Heathen's BDO video where he interviewed a guy who spent like $150,000 on BDO, and I said, what a fucking idiot. And everyone else was like, no, it's okay, you can do whatever, it's good, he's putting the money to good use, you know, he's helping the development of the game. What? Okay, at that point I realized like it changed, you know, the way people perceive these things changed significantly. And now I even see it that RMTing is almost accepted. Like Lost Ark was a good example. People are joking around about RMT, G2G Enjoyer, and all of that is already kind of moving into that direction where it's getting more and more socially acceptable to cheat, right? To literally cheat your way and get a shortcut through RMTing and stuff. It's also something that I find insanely disgusting. And after having played some hardcore classic WoW, I really, at least at that moment, I thought, man, when I see someone in the town and he has an epic mount and, you know, before all the drama happened and exposed a lot of those people, and I saw someone level 60 running around, I was like, damn, that guy achieved that. You know, there's no ambiguous like feelings about, oh, did he pay to win? Did he RMT? What, you know? I feel like that completely dilutes achievement in MMOs and makes the world also more ambiguous overall, because you don't know who is really good, who, like, it's very hard to tell visually and on a surface level who's actually put in the effort and the work, and who just got there because he got boosted or whatever, which I think is actually not as big of an issue as all of these other things that I mentioned, but I wanted to mention it anyways because I think it does make things feel much less alive if monetization is as apparent, especially also in BDO. BDO is a great example too, where it's so diluted, there's everything is monetized. Lost Ark is almost like that too. It's just, obviously both of those are Korean games, but I think that entire thing is, the entire monetization stuff is also annoying. Same with Diablo 4 too. Like, luckily I got to play Diablo 4 for free, but yeah, either way, it's annoying me. All of this culture around it is annoying me. All of this, we just play games to have fun, guys. It doesn't matter if it's terrible, and I paid $110 for it. 10 out of 10 game. Oh my god, I can slay demons. Wow, I hate this all of this fucking shit, dude. And I think it's not going to change. At least from what I've noticed, it's not going to change. So it's kind of been a reality check for me, because this is always something that I wanted to do. I've always wanted to be an MMO content creator, and nowadays I'm not so sure anymore. You know, nowadays I feel kind of out of touch with the industry and the games especially, right? Like, there's still great people in these games, there's great content creators, but I think the entire like vibe has shifted, and especially the games are just so much worse now, and also much more rare that a big game releases, right? I'm just at the point where I feel like my content can't be interesting enough. Just shitting on games over and over, because the market has shifted to where the shitting of games part is still kind of popular, but technically speaking, if you want to be smart about it, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hype a game up and say it's the best shit you've ever played, and once everyone realizes it's bad, you also gonna shift, and you then farm the people that hate the game as well. So you double dip. That's what most people are doing, at least. And I don't really want to do that. I don't want to mislead you guys. I don't want to pretend I like something when I'm not. I'm terrible at that, actually. Like, when I hate playing a game, I can barely even stream it because I get so bored so quickly. So anyways, all that being said, I'm not really sure what we're gonna do going forward. I was thinking about maybe Path of Exile or Baldurs Gate 3 or both. I think Path of Exile 2 sounds like they're actually going into a direction that I might like combat-wise. And Baldur's Gate 3, I have no idea. I'm not really a single player kind of guy, but we might try it out just because it's an RPG. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there, because I feel like, as you might have noticed from my streams, they're very short usually, because there's not much I want to do, because there's not much I want to play. And yeah, so thank you for hanging around. Thank you for making all of this possible. I hope that I can eventually go back to being a full-time MMO creator. Because that's what I usually enjoyed, but for now there's not much I want to cover, so my content might shift a little bit, or I might take more breaks, and there will be, you know, less streams and less YouTube videos and stuff while I look out for other things, basically. But I will still be here. I'm not saying I'm gonna fully quit content creation or anything. I'm just gonna be in a self-finding phase, you know. What the fuck am I gonna do with this situation that we're in now, or am I gonna do something completely different? Who knows, right? But for now, I'm still gonna be here. I'm still gonna be making content. I might have some more breaks here and there, but overall, this is where I'm at, and I think it's been long overdue, actually, that we've been doing this. And again, I wanna just have a shout out to everyone who has supported me over this course. Without you, I wouldn't have gotten this far, of course, and without you, I wouldn't have gotten to even do this full time, because you did financially support me a lot, and I do appreciate that. So thank you so much. It was a great time, and that's the saddest part of all of this. If I will ever quit, I can promise you this: the thing that I'm gonna be the most sad about is the community, because although I am very direct and opinionated, and trying to be as honest as possible, people were still there to support me. So that, I appreciate that. You know, that feels like the biggest compliment you can give a content creator, if they're being themselves and you're still supporting them. There's not much you can ask for more than that. You know, that's all a content creator could ever ask for. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thank you. I'll see you in the next live stream or YouTube video. There might be 1 or 2 more MMO videos that I might make, but for now, that's where I'm at, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, I guess, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, and if someone sees this that's currently making the Riot MMO, please, for the love of God, reach out to me. I'm begging you. Okay, I'm gonna test your game. It's gonna be the best game ever. Please.